Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Yes. All of you, please confirm to me, guys. All of you get my voice on screen. Right. All right. Good morning, guys. And check it what we completed in the last session. All right, sir. So I think so. We are discussing about steps to prepare JDBC applications. In steps to prepare JDBC applications, what exactly the steps here we are having there? Nearly 5 steps are available. First of all, download and install database software that we have done already. Download and install Java software and its related softwares. Already you have it. They're not required to discuss anything about it. Next one is prepare JDBC application logic in a Java project. Prepare JDBC application logic in Java project, where what exactly the logic here we have to provide there. Load and register the driver. Okay. Establish connection between Java application and database. Create either statement or a prepared statement or a callable statement depending on our application requirement. Write and execute SQL queries. And the next one is close the resources like connection, statement, and so on. All right, sir. Out of all this, now we already started like what there load and register driver. In general, in JDBC, Java.SQL.driver is an interface provided by Sun Microsystems, and its implementations are provided by all the database vendors. Where database vendors have provided their own implementation classes now, they provided in their respective database softwares only. Okay, that's okay, fine. But if you want to load and register driver in JDBC applications, first we have to make available the driver class to the JDBC application or to the JVM. To make available driver class to the JVM, we have to set class path environment variable. If we are using Oracle database for our applications, where Oracle database vendor have provided OJDBC11.jar file in Oracle database at a particular location. What is that location where the Oracle vendor has provided there? See Oracle 21xe, DB home xe, JDBC lib. Inside this location, the jar file name is what there? OJDBC11.jar. That OJDBC11.jar is meant for what there? Java 11 version support. Next one after that. Example I've given there, set a class path is equal to C:/Oracle 21xe slash db home xe jdbc lib ojdbc11.jar file. If you are using Eclipse IDE, simply add the required jar file to the build path. Next one, if you are using type 1 driver, that is sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc driver in JDBC applications, then it is not required to set a class path environment variable. Why? Because type 1 driver class was provided by Sun Microsystems in the same Java software along with Java predefined library. So if you're using type 1 driver, then it is not required to set any class path environment variable. Why? Because type 1 driver class was provided already in the same Java software. Alright, sir. But if you want to use type 1 driver in JDBC applications, then we have to configure what driver here now? ODBC driver. How to configure this ODBC driver? Already we understood that. Open control panel, select system and security, click on administrative tools, select ODBC data sources 64. Click on add button, select Oracle in ADV 21 home, click on finish button, provide data source name, that is Nog I provided, my name. Then after that, click on OK button, click on OK button. Like this can be provided. Right, sir. Type 1 driver support is existed in Java up to Java 1.7 version only. It is not existed from Java 1.8 version onwards. In JDB's applications, to load and register driver class, we have to use the following method from java.lang.class. What is this method here we are using there? Public static class for name, string class name, throws class not found exception. Then after that, examples are given. Nearly three drivers examples are given then. What are the three drivers examples here we are given there? Class dot for name, sun dot jdbc dot odbc dot jdbc odbc driver. Then another one is class dot for name dot oracle dot jdbc dot oracle driver. Then otherwise class dot for name of com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver. So one is first one is a type 1 driver provided by Sun Microsystems. Second and third are type 4 drivers from Oracle and as well as from what their MySQL database. When JVM execute these intersections, JVM will perform a set of activities. What are the various activities which are performed by JVM here? First one is JVM will take the provided driver class name from the for name method. JVM will search for the driver class dot class file at three locations. What are the three locations where JVM is searching for driver class dot class file there? First one is at a current location from where we are running Java program. Second one is at Java predefined library. Third one is at the locations referred by class path environment variable. If driver class dot class file is not available at all above three locations where JVM is able to raise an exception like java.sql.sql exception. Sorry, class not found exception. Java.lang. Class not found exception. If driver dot class file is available at either of these three locations, then immediately JVM will load the driver class bytecode to the memory. At the time of loading driver class bytecode to the memory, a static block will be executed. Inside the static block, there is a method called like a driver manager dot register driver. That method will be executed. By the execution of this driver manager dot register driver method, automatically JDBC driver will be activated for our JDBC application. After loading the total driver class bytecode, JVM will create java.lang.class object to store metadata of the loaded driver class. The other points already we understood about this what there class.forName method. If we use JDBC 3.0 version or Java 1.7 version onwards, load and register driver step is optional in case of type 1 driver, not mandatory to write in JDBC application. If we use JDBC 3.0 version and Oracle 11xc or 11c or MySQL 5.8 version onwards, load and register driver step is optional in the case of what there type 4 driver. Then without writing class.forName method also, we are able to load and register the driver. But when it will load and register the driver actually, if we are not writing class.forName method there, in the above cases, if we prepare JDB's applications without load and registration of the driver step, then JVM will load and register the driver automatically when we establish connection between Java application and a database. That is what they know step 2. Step 2 of the JDBC application. Then I given some pseudo code. What is this driver manager class where that what is the method is available? Interface driver, Oracle driver, implements driver, static block inside this driver manager register driver. Then after JDB's application. Example that means model code are given for type 1 driver as well as like what there type 2 that means Oracle driver provided by type 4 driver. Next one is like what there MySQL driver provided by MySQL database. All examples are given there. Then after that, what next one here? Then type 1, that means step number 1 is completed clearly. From this, when we completed this step number 1, where exactly we are in JDBC. Now diagrammatic representation, if you observe this, where we are in JDBC. If you observe this, type 1 driver, in the point of type 1 driver, I given this diagram here. But if you want to see the type 4 driver information, what is not going to be existed here? No, this ODBC is not going to be existed. Now here JDBC driver is available here. In this case, directly it will communicate with the database engine. Alright, sir. Now this is Java application and this is database. ODBC driver we configured. Type 1 driver we loaded here. Class dot for name of sun dot jdbc dot odbc dot jdbc odbc driver. The step here we provided clearly. This is step number 1. What is this step number 2 actually? Establish connection between Java application and database. To establish connection between Java application and database, we will use the following method from java.sql.driver manager class. What is this method actually? Public static connection, get connection, string driver URL, string database username, string database password, finally throws SQL exception. For this get connection method overall, 3 parameters are existed. For this get connection method overall, how many parameters are available? 3 parameters are existed. What are the 3 parameters? You know, driver URL, database username, database password. Then what next one here? Throws SQL exception. Where database username and database password are provided by the developer at the time of database installation. From the database installation, we are getting database username and password. Leave it. In JDBC, every driver must have its own driver class and URL. Here in JDBC, every driver URL is existed with the following format: main protocol name, sub protocol name, and database name. Here in JDBC, main protocol name is common for all the drivers. For all the drivers, that is, what is that main protocol name there? JDBC. Example I have given there. Type 1 driver provided by Sun Microsystems. Driver class name is sun.jdbc.odbc.jdbc driver. Driver URL is what there? JDBC colon ODBC colon DSN name. Right, sir. Type 4 driver provided by Oracle. Driver class name is what there? Oracle.jdbc.oracle driver. Of course, some outdated driver class is available, but it is not required for us now. Oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. But driver URL is what there? JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 1521 colon XE. Next one is, in the case of this is for what they know Oracle users XE. This is what their Oracle users. Understand my point here? Alright, sir. This is for what their Oracle XE versions there. Oracle XE versions, but understand this clearly. But this is what there, for the sake of this, Oracle Enterprise Edition 11C, 12C, or 18C, like this. Here we are getting. Type 4 driver provided by MySQL, com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. URL is what there? JDBC colon MySQL colon /s localhost colon 3306 slash database name. If you observe all the driver URLs now, JDBC is common. JDBC is common. Okay, the remaining URL may be different here now. Main protocol name is JDBC, that is common. Sub protocol name is varied from driver to driver here. Next one is after that. Type 1 driver provided by Sun Microsystems. Example here I'm telling there. Connection con is equal to driver manager.get connection. Then where JDBC colon ODBC colon TSN name. Then after that, system comma Durga. These are the various things are existed here. Understand it clearly. Next one is example 2. Type 4 driver provided by Oracle. Connection con is equal to driver manager dot get connection. Then where 3 parameters are existed. What are the 3 parameters are existed here now? JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 1521 colon XE system and Durga. Type 4 driver provided by MySQL. What is this type 4 driver here now? Right, sir. Connection con is equal to driver manager dot get connection JDBC colon MySQL colon localhost colon 3306 slash Durga DB. That Durga DB is like what they know database name here. Then after that, what next one you know root and root here we are getting there. Observe carefully. So overall, this is a way to prepare like what there. This is a way to prepare like what there. Uh, Connection. We are able to establish connection between Java application and database. This is a way here we are able to follow. Right, so then people are asking to me, protocol is a class in Java such as JDBC colon Oracle colon thin. First of all, you only tell me com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver. Okay, so for example, lowercase letters here I required here com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver. If I provide this here, what is package name and what is class name, sir? Package is what there, com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc, and what is the class name here? No, driver. So in Java, every class must be represented in this way only. Package name dot class name. That is what their fully qualified name. Now tell me, you only tell me, is it possible to specify this one? Com colon mysql colon cj colon jdbc colon driver. Is it the right convention? Is it possible to specify any package name with a colon? Is it possible to specify any package name with a colon? This is minimum awareness in Java. No, the colons in general will be used in what they know protocols representations maybe. In general, in what their URLs representation. URL, whenever we want to represent URL, http colon slashes localhost colon 15 or maybe 8080 slash login app slash login. Like this, if I prepare any URL there might be IP protocol names, IP address names, and port numbers. For separation purpose, we are able to use that colons kernel. At least you should not have any thought about it. Then whenever we are using colon, no, it is not like what they're no class names. They are not like what their class names. Right, sir. Observe carefully. So this is the point here we have to understand. Right, sir. Now let's move on to the topic here. Let's move on to the topic. If we want to establish connection between Java application and database, what exactly the instruction here we have to use there? What's the method here we have to use there? Driver manager dot get a connection method we have to use, where three parameters we have to pass. First one is driver URL and second one is what there? Database username. Yes, guys, please all of you understand this. Are these points are clear to all of you up to this point? Okay, fine. Let's understand this now. When JVM executes the above instruction, when JVM executes the above instruction, JVM will perform the following actions. What actions that JVM will perform? Right, sir. Point number one, JVM will execute get connection method. JVM will execute what there? Get connection method. Understand clearly? Inside get connection method, inside get connection method, there is a method call. There is a method call. Inside get connection method, there is a method call. What is this method call here? There is a method call like a driver dot connect method. Then please recognize this point what I am telling to you. Inside get connection method, there is a method call. What is this method call here? No, driver dot connect method. Observe carefully. Point number 3. When JVM, okay, there is a method called driver dot get connection method. Okay, by the execution of connect method, JVM will establish socket connection between Java application and database as per the driver URL what we provided to get connection method. Also carefully, the point what I have given there, this is the main point here. First, JVM will access get connection method. Inside the get connection method, which method call is available? Driver dot connect method is available. By the execution of this connect method only, our required connection will be established between Java application and database as per the driver URL what we provided. As per the driver URL what we provided there, as per that connection will be established between Java application and database. Please recognize this point clearly. Okay, fine. Right, sir. Then after that, that's it. Socket connection will be established. Then after that, with respect to the connection between, with respect to the connection between Java application and database, get connection method will create connection object, and get connection method will return the generated connection object. Please, all of you, listen carefully. What is the return type of the get connection method? What is the return type of the get connection method? Please recognize this point here. Here we can identify this. Get connection method is returning what there? Connection object. Even if you observe the prototype of this method here, what exactly the prototype is available for this method here? No, understand this? No, public static connection. What is the return type of this method? No, connection. Get connection method. Fine. Either directly or indirectly, it will create a connection internally. Then whatever the connection object it has been created, that connection object must be returned from get connection method. That connection object must be returned from what there? Get connection method. Get my point or not? But here I have a question, guys. All of you understand this clearly. The most important interview question in JDBC, everybody must follow this question here now. What is my question here? In JDBC, java.sql.connection is an interface. Is it? In JDBC, java.sql.connection is what there? Is an interface. Is it possible to create objects for interfaces? No. Is it possible to create any object for interfaces? No. Alright, sir. Java.sql.connection is an interface in JDBC. Okay. It is not possible to create objects for interfaces in Java, but how it is possible for get connection method to create and return connection object. I think so you understood my question here clearly. What is my question here? In JDBC, java.sql.connection is an interface. It is not possible to create objects for interfaces in Java, but how it is possible for get connection method to create and return connection object? Right? You have to answer for this question clearly. Then what is the question here I'm giving there? Please read out one more time here. No, in JDBC, java.sql.connection is what there is an interface. So for interfaces, not possible to create objects in Java. But here the point is what there in a JDBC, get connection method is creating connection object and get connection method is returning that connection objects. Then how it is possible for JVM? How it is possible for get connection method? How it is possible for get connection method to create connection object and to return connection object? That's a question here now. Right, sir. Already answer is available with you, but we have to understand this answer effectively. Before going to give answer for this question, let me give some clarity on our JDBC. You know, already JDBC is an abstraction. Abstraction means, what is the meaning of abstraction here? No, collection of interfaces. JDBC is an abstraction, means that collection of interfaces which are provided by Sun Microsystems and which are implemented by all the database vendors as part of their database softwares only. Understand my point here? No? So the first point here, what I am telling to you, JDBC is an abstraction. JDBC is an abstraction. JDBC is an abstraction. Batteries. Two batteries. JDBC is an abstraction provided by Sun Microsystems, but it is implemented by all the database vendors. Observe carefully. Right, sir. As part of the JDBC abstraction, connection is an interface provided by Sun Microsystems or not. So we can observe carefully public class connection. Sorry, public interface, not class here. Public interface connection. Public interface connection. One minute. Right. Public interface connection. Guys, all of you observe carefully. Something is available inside this connection. I don't require as of now. Now tell me, this is provided by which organization now? Come on, guys. This is provided by Sun Microsystems. Am I right or not? This is Sun Microsystems component. Something is there inside the connection interface. What is available? We don't require this punch kernel. This is one punch. Next one is. Now tell me immediately, if it is an interface now, its implementation class is required or not? Immediately, its implementation class is required or not? Right, sir. Then what is that implementation class here? Public class. Say, for example, I want to write Oracle connection IMPL. Example case I'm telling there. As the same class may not be used by Oracle people, but model class I'm telling there. Model implementation I'm telling there. Public class Oracle connection IMPL implements a connection. Implements what there? Connection. This is provided. Now inside this, implementation of all methods of the connection is provided. Implementation for all methods of the connections are provided. Now tell me here, this is provided by whom? This is provided by whom? Oracle database vendor. Similarly, MySQL connection IMPL provided by MySQL database vendor. Similarly, Sybase connection IMPL provided by Sybase vendor. Which database we are using there? Which database has given that implementation for JDBC abstraction? There we can identify these many classes clearly. Okay, fine. That's okay, good, nice. Up to now, it's okay, fine. Next one is after that, this is existed already. Now the next point is like what I'm telling to you, public class driver manager. This driver manager class is provided by whom, guys? Now tell me. Sun Microsystems. This is available in Java.SQL package only. So this driver manager class is provided by Sun Microsystems. Observe carefully. Now here, after completion of this, observe carefully. Public static connection get connection method where string URL, string database username, comma, string database password. All the things are existed here now. Throws SQL exception. Then inside this, some implementation is available. I said to you, driver dot connect method. So many things are available here. Finally, connection has been established. Connection is established. Socket connection is established. Some logic is available. That logic will be executed. But here at the end of the logic, then what's going to be happen here? Understand this clearly. Connection con is equal to new Oracle connection IMPL object is created. Finally, return con semicolon. That's it. Yes, sir. All of you get my points or not? Observe carefully in the driver manager class inside the get connection method. What it has created object there? It has created object for what there? Oracle connection IMPL. Answer my point here. Oracle connection IMPL object we created, that reference value is assigned to con reference variable. So finally, connection object is created or not created? Connection object is created or not created now? Really, object is not created for connection interface. Object is created for what there? Object is created for what there? Implementation class of the connection interface. Implementation class of the connection interface. that object is created. That implementation class objects, we can say connection objects only. Understand my point? For example, interface is available, implementation class is available. If we create object for implementation class now, we can say in general that connection, that means that interface name, we can say that that object is created. This is a general terminology. Connection is an interface, but really we are not creating object for connection interface. For implementation class only we created object. So here the general terminology is what there. Even though we created object for implementation class now, we used to say connection object only. We are able to say like what they know connection object only. But really object is not created for connection interface. Internally object is created for what they know implementation class of the connection interface. Right, sir. Anyway, reference variable is what there connection reference variable that we return here. This is happened here clearly. Next, observe carefully here. Next, inside this, observe carefully class test. Inside this class test, public static void main, public static void main, string array args. Now inside this, anyway, some other code is available, JDBC code is available, class.forName method is available, that doesn't matter for us. Next one is like what there, connection. What this guys know? Connection. Connection. Con is equal to driver manager dot get a connection of. Here we need to provide the driver URL. What is the driver URL here? We have to provide there as I'm using Oracle implementations here in general. So I need to go for like what there? Right, JDBC colon. What is the driver URL here? No? JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon at the rate localhost colon 1521 colon XE comma. Database username is what there? System comma. Then what next one here? No? Durga. Semicolon. That what we prepared here. No? So in JDBC application, this is about like what they know JDBC application, guys. Understand it clearly. Now this is prepared by whom? This is prepared by whom? Right, sir. Now this is prepared by one of their developers. Developers are creating this one. This is JDBC application directly. Right, sir. When we execute this JDBC application, when we execute this particular part here, then what happened there internally? Driver manage.get connection method will be called. Directly get driver manager class where get connection method will be called. Inside this logic will be executed to establish connection. Socket connection is established by calling driver.connect method with the same URL and what we provided. Then after that, it has been created object for what they know Oracle connection IMPL. Then object reference value is assigned to what they know connection reference variable. The same connection object connection reference value we are able to get. That reference value will be assigned to which variable they know con variable. So then what is the answer for this particular question, guys? By seeing the pseudo implementation now, pseudo code, what implementation? What is the answer here? We have to provide there no. Understand my point here. In Java, in Java, in Java, we are unable to create objects for, we are unable to create objects for interfaces directly, but we are able to create, objects for implementation classes and we are able to assign that implementation class object reference value to the interface reference variable. Yes, all of you are getting clarity up to this point here, no? Nothing is available. In Java, we are unable to create objects for interfaces directly, but we are able to create object for implementation classes. That implementation class object reference values are assigned to the interface reference variable. That is possible. Then after that, now let's come for the answer, exact answer for this question. No, JDBC is an abstraction. JDBC is an abstraction. That is, JDBC is an abstraction. That is the collection of interfaces, and its implementations are provided by all the database vendors as part of their database softwares. Right, sir. Now, one point I'm giving there. JDBC is an abstraction. There is a collection of interfaces provided by Sun Microsystems, and its implementations are provided by all the database vendors as part of their database softwares. That's okay, fine. This is the basic awareness now. Next one is Java.SQL.connection is an interface provided by Sun Microsystems in a JDBC abstraction, and its implementation classes for Java.SQL.connection interface. Implementation classes are provided by all the database vendors as part of JDBC abstraction implementation. Yes, clear? Up to this point, another point I have given there. First of all, generalization I have given. JDBC is an abstraction, that is collection of interfaces provided by Sun Microsystems, and its implementations are provided by all the database vendors as part of their database softwares. Next one I given direct point here. What is the point I am giving there? Java.SQL.connection is an interface provided by Sun Microsystems in a JDBC abstraction, and its implementation classes are provided by all the database vendors as part of JDBC abstraction implementation. Now I can go for the final conclusion. What is the final conclusion here? We are able to get there. All of you observe carefully. In a JDBC get connection method, get connection method is creating object for the implementation class of connection interface provided by which is provided by the respective database vendor, Okay, answer my point. In JDBC, get connection method is creating object for the implementation class of connection interface, and which is provided by the respective database vendor. Okay, here where get connection method is returning the connection interface implementation class object. Get connection method is returning the connection interface implementation class object. Right, sir. That's the point here I'm telling there. So directly get connection method is not creating object for the connection interface. I think so I will give that point also, so that we are able to understand it. In JDBC get connection method. Okay, in JDBC, understand this now. JDBC get connection method is not creating object for connection interface, comma, get connection method is creating object for the implementation class of connection interface, which is provided by the respective database vendor, where get connection method is returning the generated connection interface implementation class object as a return value. That's fine, guys. Now this is the total implementation. What exactly that get connection method is returning? That connection object. So damn sure this question we are able to get in our JDBC interface now. Understand it here. In JDBC, interviewer may ask a few questions. Less number of questions when compared with core Java. But within that less number of questions, some questions are important questions are available. Damn sure questions. Then one of the important interview question is what there? This particular question only. Say for example, what I am telling to you. If you go for 10th class examinations, schools, kids are writing 10th class exams now. In a 10th class exams, not even 10th class examination now, you can go for your semester exams now, BTech semester exams now. What happened there? Out of 8 questions, we have to write 5 questions. There's a pattern of your question paper, right? But unfortunately, people are studying more and more about these exams now. But there is a simple logic. Overall, in that entire subject, only 15 questions are important questions. Out of these 15 to 20 questions only, every time the questions are coming in the exams. Am I right or not? Out of these 15 questions only, 5 questions are coming randomly. Understand it here. This is going to be happen even in 10th class examinations or maybe intermediate examinations maybe or in like what they know, your semester exams maybe. For a particular subject, max 10 to 15 questions. If you prepare the 10 to 15 questions, no, you are able to get 100 marks. Not required to study that entire subject. In the same way, in JDBC, some fixed questions are available to ask in interviews. Out of these fixed questions, no, out of all the fixed questions, no, one of the fixed question, one of the important question is what there, this question only. Question number one, tell me how we are able to connect with the database from JDBC application. There we have to explain the total JDBC architecture. Second question, get connection method is returning connection object actually, but how it is possible for get connection method to create connection object since connection as connection is what they know as an interface. How it is possible to create object for connection interface in Java, but in Java it is not possible to create object for what their interfaces now. There we have to give the total information. From which point onwards we have to start our explanation there? No, you have to start our explanation right from JDBC abstraction onwards. JDBC is an abstraction provided by Sun Microsystems and its implementations are provided by database vendors. Nice. Part of the JDBC abstraction, Sun Microsystems has given java.sql.connection as an interface. Part of the implementation of the JDBC abstraction, all database vendors have given implementation classes for connection interface. Then here, get connection method, when we go there, get connection method is not creating object for connection interface directly. Get connection method is identifying implementation class of the connection interface which is provided by the respective database vendor, and get connection method will create object for the implementation class and that reference value will be assigned to the connection reference variable. Whatever the get connection method which is creating implementation class of the connection interface object, that object reference value is assigned to what they know connection reference, that value is written from the get connection method. But really get connection method is not creating any object for connection interface. Yes, sir, all of you get my point or not? Right, sir. Now this is what exactly the meaning of like what they're getting connection object in JDBC applications. Establish the connection object in JDBC applications. This is a point here we have to understand. Now let's observe this diagram here. In the diagram, then what I'm telling there, establish the connection between Java application and database. Here we provided this connection here. Here we established the connection here. Connection is established between these two now. To establish this connection, what exactly the intersection here we have taken there. Now this is here we are using type 1 driver, guys. Observe carefully. Type 1 driver view only we are going to prepare. We are preparing this diagram. But if we want to change from type 1 to type 4 driver, ODBC is not required. The remaining steps are as is. Right, sir. Now get the step number 2 here. What we are do there? Connection con is equal to driver manager dot get connection of. There we have to provide JDBC colon ODBC colon DSN name. That's name, my name. I created already. That we have to provide database username system, comma database password Durga. That I provided here. That's okay, fine. So this is completed here. Now this is the second step here. What we have done. Right now, step number 1 we completed here. That is what there. Load and register the driver. Now the step number 2. This is what they know. Establish a connection between Java application and database. This part is completed here. How we are able to get connection here, that part here we have completed. Understand this. Next one, after completion of this, let's come for this third step. Step number 3. What is this step number 3, sir? Now tell me. create either statement or a prepared statement or a callable statement depending on our application requirement. Right, sir. Observe carefully. All of you know. Understand this? In a JDBC architecture, after load and register the driver, after establish the connection between Java application and database, what is the remaining work here? Driver is ready, connection is ready. Understand my point here now? So, for example, I want to travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai, for example. I want to travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai. Understand it clearly. So, my destination is very clear. My source location, that means my starting point and ending point, both are very clear. Road is already existed here. Road is already existed. Then what's my next step now if I want to travel? What is my next step here if I want to travel? I need some vehicle or not? Understand it now? Then road is ready. Road is ready. Maybe road or maybe water, maybe the channel is ready. Then I have to travel now. If I want to take steps to travel, definitely I need some vehicle or not? That what are the vehicles here we are going to take now? Maybe by bus. Bus I have to take. Or maybe what they know, bus is okay. Then after that, then what is the next one here? Maybe by train now. Tracks are also ready. Okay. Maybe by flight, air communication is also ready. Anything here I can take. So definitely I need to take some vehicle or not? That vehicle we are going to prepare either statement or a prepared statement or a callable statement. Simple example I'm telling to you. Okay. More perfect reason I'm telling to you. This is basic awareness only. Perfect reason I'm telling to you. No, try to understand it now. In a JDBC applications, after loading the driver, after establish the connection between Java application and database, only the remaining work for developer is what there. Write SQL queries, send SQL queries to the database. That means write and execute SQL queries. After establish the connection, the remaining work for developer is what there. Write and execute SQL queries only. Writing and executing SQL queries only. Apart from this, we don't have any other work. But if we want to write and execute SQL queries, we need some predefined library. To write and execute SQL queries, we need some predefined library. That predefined library was provided by Sun Microsystems in the form of a set of methods, and that methods are provided in either statement or prepared statement and a callable statement. That's my point here. After load and registration of the driver, after getting connection between Java application and database, the remaining work for developer is what there? Writing SQL queries, sending SQL queries to the database, and executing that SQL queries at database, getting results back to the Java application. But to do this work, to write and execute these SQL queries, we need some predefined library. That predefined library must be provided by JDBC API only. JDBC has to provide predefined library. Yes, here the required predefined library was provided by JDBC in the form of a set of methods. But all these set of methods are provided in the form of statement, prepared statement, and a callable statement. So to use that predefined library, a set of methods which are required to send SQL queries to the database to execute. There we need some predefined library. That predefined library is available in the form of statement, prepared statement, and callable statement. Because of that reason only we have to create either statement or prepared statement or a callable statement. That is a requirement to go for all the three things now. Get my point or not? See, if I want to travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai, if I take a bus now, bus knows about it, how to move from starting point to ending point here, how to carry passengers from starting point to ending point, that bus knows about it. If I take a train now, then train knows about it, how to carry passengers from Hyderabad to Mumbai. If I take a flight now, flight knows about it, how to carry people from one location to another location. Understand my point or not? That may be statement or prepared statement or callable statement. They knows which methods are required for developers to execute these SQL queries. Which methods are required for developers to execute these SQL queries, to write and execute these SQL queries? Already the three things are aware about it. That's why JDBC API has provided the statement or prepared statement or callable statement. Guys, all of you are following my point or not? At least try to understand the point here, what I'm trying to type here. At least with that, we are able to get some clarity. Right, sir. In JDBC applications, after loading driver, and after getting connection, between Java application and a database, in JDBC applications of loading driver, after getting connection between Java application and database, the remaining work for the developers is to write and execute SQL queries. Write and execute SQL queries. Write and execute SQL queries. Here, to write and execute SQL queries, we need some predefined library. To write and execute SQL queries, we need some predefined library. Here the required predefined library was provided by JDBC API in the form of a set of methods in a statement, comma, prepared statement, and in a callable statement. So interviewer may ask a question to you. What is the requirement to go for statement, prepared statement, and callable statement? What is the answer here? No. Answer is very clear. After establish the connection between Java application and database, we have to write and execute SQL queries. To write and execute SQL queries, we need some predefined library in the form of a set of methods. That predefined library was provided by JDBC API in the form of statement or prepared statement or callable statement. Three things are available, sir. To travel from Hyderabad to Mumbai, three channels here I have taken: by bus, by train, by flight. Statement, prepared statement, callable statement. Then immediately I'm getting one question here. What is that question here? What is the difference between statement, prepared statement, and a callable statement? This is a question, guys. This is one of the important interview question. Now get just in a generic way I'm giving answer for this, but again we are going to talk about this question number of times. Whenever I'm going to introduce prepared statement in JDBC applications, there we are going to talk about like what there, this particular one. Again, what are the difference between statement and prepared statement? When I'm going to introduce callable statements in JDBC, there again we are going to talk about the differences between statement, prepared statement, callable statement. In the future, again we are going to understand, but with the internals we are going to understand that content in the future. But at present, in the generic way, we have to understand. At a very startup, then we have to understand in a generic way. What exactly the point here we are going to understand about this, the difference between statement, prepared statement, and callable statement. Right, sir. All of you are okay no with these points? No. I will take one very simple example. Very simple example. Try to understand this simple example. All of you guys. I think all of you might be aware about Xerox mission. Xerox center, Xerox mission, right? You're aware about it, right? Definitely you might be have awareness on it. Whenever we are having semester exams now, then a little bit work is going on with it, right? Micro Xeroxes now, right? Micro Xeroxes, not even like a single page now. Entire textbook we require, right? We don't know which questions are coming. But before exam only, you are having these many tensions now. We don't know which question will come, then which slip we have to keep, and which answer we have to take a Xerox. No, all these tensions are getting in before exam only. But once we entered in the exam, no, our question independent answers we are able to write. Like platform independent. Java is a platform independent, right? Like this question independent answers. Any question, single answer. All the questions, single answer. Huh? Protocol, write shortcut, write some notes on protocol. What is your answer here? No, protocol is a set of rules and regulations to carry data from one machine to another machine. One definition, two lines space. Second one, in the computer world, in a networking, we need to carry data from one machine to another machine where we are using protocol. Second definition and two lines space. No. Third one here, in computer science, we must carry data from one machine to another machine. To carry data from one machine to another machine, again we require a set of rules and regulations. There we require protocol. Next one, again two lines space now. Need diagram, title, diagram. Computer A, computer B. One arrow mark, another arrow mark. Data transferring, data transferring. Again, next one, diagram explanation. Computer A, computer A and B are two computers. Let's assume A and B are two computers now. Sending ABC data from computer A to computer B. Sending XYZ data from computer B to computer A, where protocol is used. Even if we write 2 pages or 3 pages of data, final conclusion is what there called as protocol only. Apart from that, we don't have any more information here now. Right, sir? Anyway, understand it, no? I think you're having some awareness on Xerox emissions of functionality. Xerox emissions functionality, you're having awareness. Am I right? Let's understand it now. I have a requirement, guys. For example, you're all attending this advanced Java class. I need 300 copies of my material. Already I had my original copy. I prepared original copy here. Advanced Java material, I prepared that original copy. I need 300 copies of that original copy. I want to distribute that. Then what happened there? My admin went to Xerox center. My admin went to the Xerox center. He has given an order to the Xerox people. Here, this is original copy. For this original copy, 300 Xerox copies I need. Then immediately what the Xerox center person is doing there, here I'm taking two cases. Here I'm taking two cases. Now try to understand it. No, case number one. What Xerox person is doing there, that shop person, what he is doing there, Xerox operator, what he is doing there. First, he scan the entire book, then getting one copy. Okay. Next, again he scanned that entire book again, getting second copy. Again he scanned entire book, getting third copy. Again scanned, getting fourth copy. Scanned fifth copy. Scanned sixth copy. Scanned up to 300 copies now. If it is the process there, how many times he scanned? 300 times he scanned it. But is it required to scan 300 times the same book? One time scanning is sufficient. Where we put the setup no, 300 copies setup no, automatically one time scanning, automated is providing 300 copies or not? Come on guys, understand my point clearly. Only one time scanning is sufficient to get how many number of copies there? 300 copies here now. The first case is exactly statement and the second case is exactly prepared statement. That means at least either you're not understanding the total process here, but one point you can understand. First case is nothing but what the statement means that their unnecessary scannings are going on or not. Unnecessary scannings are going on or not. Whenever unnecessary work is going on, automatically execution time will be increased or not. Automatically execution time will be increased or not. Whenever execution time is increased, automatically performance of the application will be reduced or not. So with the statement, some performance issues will come. With the statement, some performance related problems we are able to catch. To overcome these problems only, to overcome these performance related problems only, we have to go for like what their prepared statement. What's going to be happen inside the prepared statement? No, in a prepared statement, only one time scanning, but 100, that way 300 copies here we are able to catch. Okay, now let's come for the technical content. Let's understand the technical content, guys. Then what I'm telling to you, listen carefully. Understand this diagram. Previously we prepared this diagram actually. What is the diagram here? Query processing system here we prepared here. Now observe carefully. Query processing system. Have you recollected this diagram? Have you remembered that? So answer is very clear. When I submit one SQL query to the database, now what database engine is doing there? No, tokenization, parsing, optimization. Execution is required anyway. Execution is required, but first three steps are pre-processing steps or not. First three steps are what they know? Pre-processing steps. And commonly we can say parsing steps. First three are what they know? Parsing, majorly parsing. Next one is what their execution. Are you getting my point or not? Okay. If you remember this point here, my concept is very simple. Now try to understand my concept now. I have a requirement. What is my requirement here? I want to execute same insert SQL query 100 times with the different values. I want to insert 100 employees into the database. I want to insert 100 employees into the database. Listen, put more concentration here. Example is very simple. I want to insert 100 employee objects into the database, 100 employees into the database. That is my requirement. If you want to insert 100 employee details into the database, in the sense, how many times we have to execute insert SQL query? In general, how many times we have to execute insert SQL query? 100 times. 100 times we are going to execute insert SQL query. Am I right or not? Okay, listen carefully. Here my task is what there. 100 times the same insert SQL query we have to execute. Of course, values may be varied from time to time. Okay, now this is a case now. For this particular requirement, if I use statement, what will happen there? First insert SQL query when we execute, database engine will perform pre-processing and execution. Tokenization, parsing, optimization, then execution. First record is inserted to the database table. Second insert SQL query when we execute there. Second insert SQL query. Again, query tokenization, query parsing, query optimization, then execution. Third insert SQL query. Again, what database engine will do in the case of statement? No. Every time database engine is feeling is a new SQL query. But actually we provided same SQL query, but every time database engine is thinking new SQL query in the case of statement. For third time also database engine is performing query tokenization, query parsing, query optimization, then execution. Fifth time, again tokenization, parsing, optimization, then execution. Sixth time, entire pre-processing steps and as well as what their execution. How many SQL queries? No, 100 SQL queries. 100 times we are performing query tokenization, query parsing, query optimization, then query execution. Now tell me here, I'm asking one question now. From one time to another time, any changes are available in query tokenization? Same insert SQL query, same number of tokens. No changes are available in query tokenization. Query parsing, checking that syntax errors in insert SQL query, same mechanism or not? So no change is available from one time to another time about query parsing. Any changes are available about this query optimization? No. Same insert SQL query. Optimization techniques are very much common for insert SQL query. Same optimization mechanisms we are applying. Am I right or not? Okay. But query execution phase is required. Why? Because inserting records into the database table, that is required. So query tokenization, query parsing and query optimization steps now, no changes are available from one time executing insert SQL query to another time executing insert SQL query. We haven't identified any changes from one time execution to another time execution of query tokenization, query parsing and query optimization. But if no changes are available from one time to another time, for inserting 100 number of SQL queries, for inserting 100 number of records onto the database table, for executing 100 times that insert SQL query, what is the requirement to perform query tokenization, query parsing and query optimization for each and every insert SQL query? What is the need of performing these three steps now? This is almost equal to, for getting 100 Xerox copies now, 100 times we are scanning. Every time executing insert SQL query, what is the need of performing these three operations now? Once my SQL query is fixed next 100 times here, what is the need of performing tokenization, parsing, and optimization every time here? No. Same mechanism, same process, same results we are getting out of all the 3 steps or not? What is the need of these 3 steps every time here? No. This is unnecessary work or not? Nearly 99 number of times is unnecessary or not? One time is okay, minimum one time is required here. First time we required here, but remaining 99 number of times is unnecessary or not? That is a problem with the statement. What statement is doing? What statement is giving unnecessary work here? Unnecessarily, it is performing query tokenization, query parsing, query optimization every time execution of the same SQL query. But this is unnecessary work. One time is sufficient. How many times are sufficient here? No, one time is sufficient. Not required to go for every time here. One time is sufficient for it. Yes, all of you are getting my point or not? Just one time is sufficient. Every time is not required here. No. Right, sir. Now this is a problem with the statement. To overcome this problem, here we have to go for like what there? Prepared statement. In the case of prepared statement, what we are going to do there? If we want to insert 100 employee records onto the database table, 100 times if you want to execute insert SQL query, only one time only it allows to perform tokenization, parsing, and optimization. 100 times execution is going to be performed. Only one time only tokenization, parsing, and optimization is performed, not remaining 99 number of times. No, only one time only, but 99 remaining 100 times it's going to be executed. Means that SQL query will be executed 100 times. No, but tokenization, parsing, and optimizations are allowed only one time here. Now tell me here, in which case performance of the JDBC application will be improved? In which case? Is that in a statement or prepared statement? Statement or prepared statement? Prepared statement. In the case of prepared statement only, performance of the JDBC applications will be improved. But here one condition we have to remember. When it is a case, no, when we have a requirement to execute same SQL query in the next sequence. This total analysis what I am giving by assuming the situation. What is that situation there? No, same insert SQL query in the next 100 times, or same select SQL query in the next 100 times, or same update SQL query in the next 100 times. Then only the scenario will come into the picture. There we can differentiate statement and prepared statement. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? For example, one SQL query is a insert SQL query. Next SQL query is a select SQL query. Next SQL query is an update SQL query. Next one is what their delete SQL query. If it is a case, no, not required to go for prepared statement. The statement is sufficient. Both are same now. Statement and prepared statement, they're providing same performance. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? When we have to go for prepared statement concept in JDBC, when we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence. When we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence, there we have to go for what there? Prepared statement to improve performance over the statement. But if the SQL queries are different in the next sequence, if the SQL queries are different in the next sequence, not like same SQL query. One SQL query is a selector, next SQL query is update, next one is insert, next one is a delete, next one is a drop, next one is a create table. If it is a case, no, anything here we can use, maybe statement or prepared statement, where nothing is a difference here. But when we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence, there only we have to go for like what there? Prepared statement to get good performance when compared with the statement here. Okay, fine. Anyway, statement and prepared statement here we are getting. Am I right or not? Am I right or not? Next, observe carefully. Listen carefully. Same Xerox example if you observe there. Today I started this batch, 300 Xerox copies I required. 300 copies I required. So I send my admin person to the Xerox center with the original copy. My admin person taken original copy from me. He went to the Xerox center. He has given that original copy to the Xerox center person. Then he asked there, try to get 300 copies now. He's giving 300 copies, only one time scanning, and he has given like what there, 300 copies here. That's okay. Then along with that, finally now tell me how many books my admin people has carried to the institute. No, how many books he got from Xerox center here? 300 duplicate copies, but one original copy is available or not? 300 plus one original copy he got back the total content to the our institute or not? Nice, remember this. Next, after 1 week of time, again I started advanced Java batch. After 1 week of time, again I started one advanced Java batch. There again I got 300 members. For again 300 members, I have to distribute my advanced Java material. Then again, what I have to do there? Again, I have to send my admin person with the original copy to the Xerox center. Xerox person, I will prepare this 300 copies there. 300 copies for original copy, both send it to the institute. Then we distributed that. Clear. 2 times, 2 batches I announced within a week of time. Then I reached my requirement. Next week, again, I'm starting another new advanced Java batch. Every week, I'm starting one new advanced Java batch. In every week, I have a confirmation. 300 members will come for my batch there. In every week, I got confirmation. Then every week, what my admin person has to do there? My admin person has to bring that original copy to the Xerox center. He will make some 300 copies every time. He return the 300 copies plus original copy to the institute. Again now, this is going to be happen on every week. Every week he has to bring that original copy from institute to the Xerox center or not? This is unnecessary or not? This is unnecessary or not? So here, what is the alternative we are expecting there? Alternative we are expecting is what there? And finally, after completion of 3 to 4 attempts, no, I said to my admin person, Arey, why you are bringing that original copy every time from institute to the Xerox center? No. Then what I am asking to him, try to keep that original copy in the same Xerox center. Where one window is available, there keep that. Remember that location where you kept that advanced Java original copy. But every time don't bring that copy from institute to respective Xerox center. Keep that original copy at the same Xerox center permanently. But whenever we require 300 copies, no, just make a call to the Xerox center person. Now I need 300 copies. My original copy is available at the same Xerox center in a particular location. Give that information to him. Automatically, the Xerox center representative will prepare 300 copies and will send the 300 copies to us. Whenever we require 300 copies there, just make a call to him. No need to bring every time original copy from institute to the Xerox center. Keep that original copy in the same Xerox center. Whenever we require 300 copies, no, make a call to him. I need now 300 copies. Where my original copy is available in our same Xerox center. Now try to get that original copy. Try to prepare 300 copies. No, send the 300 copies to our institute. Sir, got my point or not? This is a situation here now. To achieve this particular situation in JDBC, we are going to use callable statement. Answer my point here. We are going to use what there no callable statement. I'll give information to you. Try to understand it now. For example, I want to get a average salary of 100 employees every time. This is my frequent operation in my JDBC applications. For example, my enterprise application is available where 10 modules are available. In every module, every time I want to calculate average salary of my 100 employees. This is my requirement. This is my frequent requirement. Then in general, if I use statement or prepare statement, what I have to do there? I write my SQL query in JDBC program or not? What is that SQL query? No, select AVG of ESAL from EMP1. That SQL query we are going to write or not? We will send that SQL query from Java application to the database or not? Database engine will execute that SQL query, calculates average salary of the respective salaries, no, and some average salary is getting there maybe 55,000 or 60,000 for example. That value is written back to what they know Java application. But how many times this operation we required in JDBC applications? No, 100 times I required this operation. How many times I required this operation? No, 100 times I required this operation. Not even in a single JDBC program. In my enterprise application, 10 JDBC programs are available. In all 10 JDBC applications, now this operation is very much common operation. All right, sir. 100 times if I require the same operation, all 100 times what I am doing there, every time I'm preparing my SQL query, every time I'm sending this SQL query to the database, no, database engine will execute that SQL query, returning the results back to the Java application. But here my point is what there, if we required this operation every time, why we are preparing SQL query in Java program every time now? Why we are writing that SQL query every time in Java program? Why we are sending that SQL query every time from Java application to the database? No. Why we are sending my original advanced Java copy, advanced Java material, original copy? Why I am sending every time from institute to the Xerox center? What alternative we are expecting there in the case of Xerox center? No. We need to keep that original copy in the same Xerox center or not? When we require 300 copies, no, we'll make a call to him or not? In the same way, why don't we keep my database logic at the same database site? When we require that operation there, why don't we make a call to the database engine, try to execute that particular logic, get the result back to the Java application? Why don't we do this particular one? Are you getting my point or not? I require some database logic frequently, but every time writing database logic in Java application, sending the database logic to the database engine is a time waste process or not? Every time. Then instead of this, what we have to do there? What's the alternative here we have to do? No. Instead of sending every time the same database logic from Java application to the database, no. Instead of doing that, why don't we keep the database logic at the same database software every time? Why don't we keep the same database logic? Why don't we keep the same database logic at database side permanently? If we keep the database logic at database side permanently, when we require that logic execution, simply make a call to the database engine. Make a call to the database engine. I need this logic execution now. Get result of it. So immediately database engine will execute the database logic. It will identify the results. The results will be given back to the Java application. Now tell me, here we need to prepare our database logic permanently at database side or not? We have to keep our database logic permanently at database side or not? Understand my point here now? If you want to write your database logic permanently at a database side now, there we have to use stored procedures and functions at a database side now. What we have to write there? Stored procedures and functions. They are not any other one, just like our normal Java methods. But we are following SQL syntaxes. PL SQL syntaxes we are going to follow. Which logic is a repeatable executable logic for you? Keep that logic at database side only in the form of a stored procedure or function. When we require the result of that particular stored procedure or function, make a call to that. Make a call to that stored procedure or function from Java application. Don't send the total database logic from Java application to the database now. It's already available at database side there. Make a call to that function. Database engine will listen your call. Database engine will execute that procedure or function, return some value to the Java application, then get result of it. Understand my point or not? So here finally point is what there? At my database stored procedure and function is available. That is ready. Then remaining part is what there? We have to access that stored procedure and function. If we want to call that stored procedure and function from Java application, if we want to access stored procedure and function from Java application, there we required a separate statement. That a separate statement is what there? Callable statement. There a separate statement is required. What is the separate statement there? No, callable statement. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point or not? Right, sir. It's very simple to understand this one. What exactly the purpose of this callable statement here? I'm giving that point to you. Now try to understand it now. Finally, we have a question. What is that question, guys? Now tell me. What is the difference between statement, prepared statement, and callable statement? In a simple words, I require answer. I don't require too much answer here as of now immediately. I require very, very simple answer. I'm trying to give that answers to you. Now try to understand it clearly. First one, point number one is what there? Directly in a JDBC applications, when we want to execute all SQL queries individually, in a JDBC applications, when we want to execute all SQL queries individually, every SQL query is a new SQL query only. If we want to, when we want to execute all SQL queries individually, there we will use what? There we will use what? There we will use what? Statement. There we will use what? Their statement. This is a point here I'm telling to you. All right, sir. This is a statement. Whenever we want to execute every SQL query individually, we thought of it, no relation between one SQL query to another SQL query. All the SQL queries are individually. There we have to go for what their statement. Next one is after that. In JDBC applications, when we want to execute the same SQL query, repeatedly, or maybe when we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence, I said you same SQL query in the next sequence. There to improve JDBC application performance. JDBC application performance. We have to use what we have to use there, no, prepared statement over statement. If we use statement, their performance will be reduced. All right, sir. Over statement, we have to use what they know, prepared statement. Come on, guys, understand this point here. In JDBC applications, when we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence, there to improve JDBC applications performance. We have to use prepared statement over what they know, statement. For this requirement, if we use statement, no, performance will be decreased. For this requirement, if we use prepared statement, no, performance will be improved. Next one is, in JDBC applications, if we want to access stored procedures and functions, if you want to access stored procedures and functions from JDBC applications, if you want to access stored procedures and functions which are available, which are existed at a database from JDBC applications, then we will use callable statement. Callable statement. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my points now? What I given information to you, try to understand it now. In JDBC applications, when we want to execute all SQL queries individually, there we have to use what their statement. When we want to execute the same SQL query in the next sequence, where to improve the performance of the JDBC applications, we have to use what their prepared statement. When we want to access stored procedure and function from JDBC applications, what we have to use their callable statement. But in general, stored procedures and functions are available at which side? No, database side only. Stored procedures and functions are prepared at which side? No, database side only. That if we want to access from JDBC application. That if we want to access from Java application, there we have to use what there? No, callable statement. Right, sir? Of course, just only 3 lines only I have written here. But conceptually, I explain the total content. No? But whenever we have an opportunity to talk about this particular one, give this total elaborated information to that interviewer. No? Then interviewer will satisfy about it. But again, I'm going to show the same content in the future there. There we are able to understand effectively the same questions. No? But outlined information are given for this particular one at present here. Prepared statement is a separate topic in JDBC. Callable statement is again a separate topic in JDBC. Understand my point clearly? So because of that reason, here we have to understand all this content effectively. Right, sir? Now let's come for this point here, how we are able to create a statement object. At present, what I required here, no? Statement object I required. At present, at basic programming part, at basic JDBC applications, what I required here, no? Statement I required here. Right, now understand this clearly. To create statement object, to create statement in JDBC applications, we have to use the following method from connection. Method is from what there? Connection. What is this method here? We have to use there public statement create a statement method throws a SQL exception. Example code here I'm telling to you. Statement st is equal to con dot create a statement. Conduct create a statement. Right, sir. Statement ST is equal to conduct create a statement. Right. This is the intersection here we are using there. Right, sir. Again, here we have a question. You have to answer for this question, guys. What is that question here? In a JDBC, Java.SQL.statement is an interface. In JDBC, Java.SQL.statement is what there is an interface. Okay. How it is possible? How it is possible for create a statement method to create and return statement object. Statement object. This is my question. Same question here. What we have seen in the case of connection, no. Same thing here we have to understand. In JDBC, Java.SQL.statement is an interface. Okay. Okay. Continuation. For interfaces, we are unable to create objects in Java, but how it is possible for create statement method to create and return statement object? Guys, will you create answer for this particular question? Will you explain the answer for this particular question? What is the answer for this particular question, guys? JDBC is an abstraction provided by Sun Microsystems, and its implementation class are provided by database vendors. Okay, fine. As part of the JDBC abstraction, what is available? Statement is provided as an interface, and its implementation class are provided by all the database vendors. Right. What create statement method has done there? Create statement method has created object for what there? Object for statement implementation class, and that object reference value is assigned to the statement reference variable, and that implementation is written, that reference value is written from create statement method. But really, create statement method is not creating object for statement interface. It creates object for the implementation class of statement interface. That implementation class object reference value is written from create statement method. Sir, getting my point or not? Then I need to show some pseudocode. Some pseudocode internally how the coding is available here. The pseudocode I need to provide. Then with that, the total this step is going to be completed. Okay. So do one thing. That step I want to do in the next class. That the pseudocode and the remaining part I will do in the next class here. When we have to attend for the next class there? When we are going to have next class, no? So Monday. On Monday, I will take the next class, and tomorrow, not required to come for the class, right? Not required to come for this class here and tomorrow. Then day of tomorrow, on Monday, I'll explain like what there. This total process here. Max Monday at 6 a.m. Then if you want to come, I don't have any problem. Right, sir. But not possible for everybody. And even at 7 o'clock, might be nobody is coming to the class. Less members are available even at 7 o'clock. Then what is the meaning of it? So not required. At least come to the class by 7 exactly. On time, if we come there, then that will be good thing. On time, we are able to finish our course. Not required to take any extra classes for it. The same tempo, if you maintain, no, we are able to finish our content here in a little bit time. Easily we can complete it now, right? Right, guys. Anyway, then I'll share this document now. Then you can utilize this. 1 minute. Let me share this document totally. PDF notes, I think so already shared, guys, for online people. Please check in the drive. PDF material is already there in the drive, and soft and hard copy materials are also available in the office there. Now try to collect them. Right, sir. Notes up to what's the date here? 12. Any diagram today? No diagrams. Yeah, everything up to now, whatever the notes is available, that everything I shared, guys. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on Monday at 7 o'clock.